Hi, and welcome to the Thete Gaming subscriber report. Now, just to explain what this is, it's something I do every now and then, really as feedback for my channel. Just to be really clear, this has got nothing to do with World of Warcraft subscriptions. I always have to sort of say that because there was some confusion the first time I started doing these. It is specifically about subscribers to my channel, particularly here on YouTube. So what I do is I'm just really explaining what's happened with the channel, what I'm doing with the channel, what my plans are, so that you can put your input in there as well. I can get your feedback. People provide feedback in various places anyway, which is great, but sometimes doing these I think just helps people to focus in on what I'm doing and what I'm planning on doing, and we go from there. So first of all, in terms of YouTube fun and games, now anyone I think who's watched any sort of channels where there's going to be some vlogging will have noticed YouTube have been doing some funny things in the past. They're up to funny things again now, so just to bring you up to speed with that. So first of all, we have a situation where you would think if you subscribe to someone that it would notify you when they do new content. But no, this doesn't happen. So what there is by the subscriber button, there is a bell. And that bell is supposed to give you notifications where someone, does new content. Now that sort of does work for me. There's only a couple of people I put the bell on because, usually I do actively look at the people I subscribe and see what they've done. So I don't just rely on things coming on my feed, but a lot of people do. They just look at the feed. So the bell there should give you a notification. But apparently this hasn't been working too well. And there's been a few larger YouTubers who've been saying, can you just do me a favor and can you unsubscribe and then immediately resubscribe and click the bell notification just to do like a reset because there's something funny going on. I don't know whether that's true or not because, as I say, the people for whom I do have the bell notification on, I've always got notifications of their stuff. It has sort of worked for me. But at the same time, YouTube did announce a while ago, a few months ago, I think it was, certainly this year, that actually the bell doesn't give you notifications either. So this is what they do. So you produce a video or you publish a video. You might actually have put the video up there some days before, but you publish it. It's now sort of live. And YouTube do a few things. First of all, they give you 7 days where they'll artificially bump it up in the rankings just to give it a bit of a leg up, fine, fair enough. Then what they do is they throw it in the feed of a select number of your subscribers, just random. And that includes people who've clicked the bell. It doesn't go out to everyone who's clicked the bell, just some people, as well as some people who are not subscribed. And then they see how people react to it. If it looks like people have watched the video, what YouTube are particularly interested in, what they're most interested in is that people watch the video like all the way through and preferably then click on another video, whether it's on that channel or another channel. In other words, they stay watching YouTube. That is the thing YouTube care about the most. So I will always say if you want to support any YouTuber, not just me, then the best thing you can do is to have the content being watched and ideally all the way through, even if you're not really watching it. And so that's what they want most of all. The next thing they want is they like people to actively engage with that content. So that means clicking likes, typing comments in, that sort of thing. That's all good as well. So those are the things they're looking for. And if people are engaged, and if they're doing that, if they're watching it through and clicking likes or even dislikes and comments, then they go, oh, this video might be all right. Because the algorithm, as clever as it is, has no way of judging quality. So, and then it throws it out to a few more people and then more, and it just escalates from there. In terms of how YouTube will help it. Now, of course, that's not, for the very large YouTubers that get tens of thousands in a day watching it and stuff like that, that's not how they get most of their views, of course. That's how, YouTube will get a certain number of those. The way they'll get theirs is because people will share it on other platforms as well, and it cascades that way as well. So those are the two main ways in which it'll get a load of views. First of all, YouTube sending it out to a random number of people to see if they like it, and if they do, they keep sending it out to people. And if they don't, if it looks like there's no real engagement with it, then they'll just, call it a dead turkey and just leave it at that. And then the second one is people doing the, so not just leaving it to YouTube, people actually sharing it on other platforms, and then people watching it there and them sharing it and so on. And it gets out like that. So what YouTube are now doing, because they've done two other very, very funny things. So that's where we were up to as of the last subscriber report. I think I might have talked about that. What they've done since is, first of all, I don't even use this actually, but some people may use it. If you look on your homepage, one of the little buttons you can click is the subscription feed. Now, what's supposed to go in there are the latest videos of the people you subscribe to. But YouTube have done two funny things with that. First of all, they've decided that it shouldn't be the latest videos, that it should be, again, remember, it all comes from this, they want you to watch YouTube as much as possible. So they actually put in the videos, and they don't care whether it's a video that's 3 years old or just 5 minutes old. They'll put in the videos that they think, based on what you've been clicking around, you'd most like to watch. It's a bit of a pain. And because if you've been following someone for a while, you've probably watched the one from a few years ago. Or if it's on my channel, of course, where it might not even be relevant. It might be talking about like Warlords of Draenor. Oh, I don't want to watch that. But anyway, that's one thing they've done. And another thing they've done, because I've looked at this to check it out, and they're like, yeah, they have. Actually, some of those things in that subscription page are not even people you subscribe to. They're not. I've looked at them, I'm looking for, I don't subscribe to these people. What's all this doing in there? So they're basically getting rid of it. There's a few things they're getting rid of as well. They're getting rid of the message feature, where you can actually type a private message to a YouTuber. That's going. They say that's going due to lack of use. And to be, I mean, you know, some people occasionally send me a private message, but if I'm honest, it doesn't happen that often. So I can understand that. So they're getting rid of that feature as well because, you know, just due to lack of use. So there we are. So they keep changing the way to do it, but it all comes from this point of view that what they want people to do is to be watching YouTube. And they want people to watch through a video, or actually they're not hugely bothered even if you watch the whole video, as long as you're clicking on another video as well in there. As you know, that's ultimately what they want. They want people to spend time watching YouTube. So what I've been doing recently, so that's all the YouTube stuff out of the way. What I've been doing recently is I've come to a sort of conclusion that basically in terms of the content I'm going to be doing for World of Warcraft, it's sort of reached a peak. It's very clearly reached a peak. I've had no growth at all this year. So I looked at it and I thought, well, there's one of two things to do here. One is where you go, okay, what I really want is growth, and I know exactly what sort of videos would generate that growth. And some of them are just ones that I will not do. It's just immoral. And the other ones are ones that I would like to do, but they're much lower priority. And if I were to increase the priority, that means the videos that I care most about would have to be lower in priority. That's what I would do for more growth. Or I just go, well, actually, what's more important is the type of videos I do. I have, excuse me, I have to accept that I just don't have the time to do a lot of the other stuff that has wider appeal. And just leave it as it is. So that's sort of where I've gone. I've gone with the latter one there. I've gone, you know, it's more important that I do the more informative ones, the ones that other people seem not to be doing, and keeping those on there. So what I've thought about doing, freed from the shackles of trying to do like other bits of World of Warcraft content during holidays and stuff like that, I'm thinking to myself, right, what I want to do is use this as a reason to play other games, get back into other games, and bring that into the content. So, as you may have noticed, I've been doing very recently some videos on Lord of the Rings and Warhammer, and I will continue that. My aim is to be able to do at least one of those a week, to begin with one a week, to carry out there. Now, this, you know, if I was really after growth, this would be the last thing I do. Because as you'll also have noticed, they get very few views. Because it's effectively like starting your own channel again. It's content that's not normally part of my channel, and therefore is going to get fewer views. Hopefully, over time, an audience will build up for that. And hopefully that audience won't look at it and go, okay, I like this, but I don't like all the Warcraft stuff. Oh my God, no, I'm just not doing with it. Because I keep getting notifications about Warcraft stuff. Hopefully that won't happen. Because I had toyed with the idea of just doing separate channels for them. But, you know, there's a couple of things about that. One is, when I originally renamed the channel, when I stopped just using it as a personal channel and actually started doing it as an actual channel, I called it Thete Gaming, specifically because that's a nice generic way to name a channel if you want to do multiple games. It's not something you call a channel if you're focusing on one game. If I was focusing on World of Warcraft, it would have had a very strongly linked Warcraft name. And it didn't, because I always thought in the future I might like to do other things with it. So I'd already thought about that in advance. And the second one is, at the moment, I could probably do 2 Lord of the Rings videos. But then there might be some weeks I'm thinking, because it's all right thinking what I could do now. I'm thinking of the future when all of a sudden I'm playing World of Warcraft again when the expansion comes out. I don't know how long. It used to be the case that you'd be hammer and tongs into it for 5 or 6 weeks, and then you'd settle into a nice, you know, raiding cycle, and you'd have time to do other things. Legion dispel that completely, and it's possible that, you know, BFA will be the same. That's why when I changed guild, I sort of made sure I've joined one that just does 3 nights a week. Okay, they might do an extra 4th one every now and then, start of a tier or something, but by and large 3 nights a week, so that I can manage this. But nonetheless, it might impinge upon the other things as well. So I'm thinking, let's just manage it at what I can, which is 1 a week for Warhammer and 1 a week for Lord of the Rings. And if I can increase it at some point in the future, and I know I can maintain that increase, great. But the problem is on a channel, although you can get away with 1 video a week, I'm thinking like the Lord of the Rings one is like 5 minutes. I'm trying to keep those short ones. Again, another little bit of an experiment. So shortish ones, nice 5-minute jobs. And, you know, 1 5-minute video a week on a channel, I'm not saying it's not feasible, but it's not great either. You are better off with multiple uploads a week, especially if they're going to be that short. The second, and then even the Warhammer, which is a bit longer, they're still not like very long ones. So I'm thinking, you know, it's better off being lumped into this channel. I can review it from there, but I think that's probably the best way. So with that in mind, I'm also then minded, okay, so let's say someone comes to the channel and they're only, once I've built it up a bit, at the moment, you know, there's nothing there, but when I've built it up a bit, maybe they're only interested in Lord of the Rings stuff and not at all interested in Warcraft, not at all interested in Warhammer, or they're only interested in Warhammer and not all the other stuff. Doesn't matter if they're only interested in Warcraft, because there's multiple uploads of that a week, so there's always plenty of that. So then I thought, well, what I want to do is to make it easy for people to find the other content that they're interested in and get through the chat. So playlists. Now, at the moment, I've got a ridiculous number of playlists. So what I'm going to be planning on doing in a few weeks' time, not immediately, is basically destroying the playlists, rebuilding them, but a fewer number of them. Now, I would ideally like to have, you know, only about 8 playlists, but I don't think I can do that. But I think I've managed to get it down to 11. So this is what I'm thinking of. And it means videos that fit into these categories will go into a playlist. Any other ones will just be one-off videos. They won't go into a playlist. So let me see what you think. So I'm planning on 1 for Retribution Paladin guides, 1 for Retribution Paladin discussions, raiding guides, WoW add-on guides, the WoW discussions, which will include the Azeroth review in there. No, that's general WoW discussion, sorry, not the live ones. Then there is the Azeroth review as a separate playlist, the mailbox as a separate playlist, and then Exploring Middle-earth, Lord of the Rings discussion, so 2 Lord of the Rings playlists there, the Project Warhammer, which is what I'm doing at the moment, and then separate Warhammer discussion ones as well. So 2 Warhammer ones, 2 Lord of the Rings ones, basically, and then 7 Warcraft ones. And hopefully that will cover all the ones where it would make sense to go in a playlist, and everything else can just, you know, fight for itself. Because most of my videos, to be honest, because what I've done, I've based those playlists on the sort of ones that often get views over time. Like a lot of the videos, they get their views in the first, if we're honest, 2 or 3 days. And then after that, it's maybe a little bit of a trickle, but you don't really get many views. Whereas ones that fit into those other categories I've talked about, occasionally you'll still get a decent number of views coming in over time. So hopefully that would sort that out, but we'll have to see. Then the other thing I was thinking about recently is because I noticed over the last 6 months or so, more of the videos that I've been doing are the sorts of ones that I can do in advance. It was the time where the vast majority of the videos I did were the sort of ones where I, you know, if I was going to do them, I had to do them immediately. And if I left it a couple of days, there was no point in doing it at all because, you know, it was too topical. Whereas now I'm doing quite like, there's a video, for example, that I should have done on Thursday. I still haven't done it now, Maybe I'll do it after this video, or maybe I'll do it tomorrow. But I can still do it tomorrow, and I can still bring it out. I could bring it out on Monday if I wanted. It really doesn't matter. I can bring it out whenever I could bring it out in 2 weeks' time. It's fine. It's okay. So, and there's more videos that I'm doing like that. In fact, now I think about it, there's quite a lot of videos that I'm doing like that. So that also helps with scheduling things. So what I'm also hoping to do at one point, again, hopefully by summer, get into a nice rhythm of preparing these. And because when I think about the videos that I'm planning on doing, it does come to a nice round 7, which means 1 a day. But they don't usually come out at 1 a day. Sometimes they come out like some days none and some days 2 or 3. So trying to get them out 1 a day, because if they're the sort of videos that can be done in advance, then it means even if I make 3 videos in a day, I don't have to bring them out on that same day. I can schedule a couple of them for later on. So that will also hopefully help, so that there'll be set days when particular themes come up. So those general themes being each week doing a Rec Paladin video, a general WoW discussion, you know, either one that's occurred to me, one that's breaking news, or one that people have suggested. Some sort of WoW guide potentially, mailbox, Azeroth review, a Warhammer video, and a Lord of the Rings video. You know, and that would be a nice little rhythm to get into. So that's what I'm thinking there. Now, in terms of next thing on to live streaming, so we've tried out the live streaming on YouTube now, and it's sort of worked. So, as I said at the Azeroth review, what I'm likely to do now is to have discussions streamed on YouTube, because those videos get uploaded to YouTube anyway. So it might as well be done on YouTube. We did a trial with the mailbox last week, and didn't work terribly. From everyone else's point of view, it worked fine while we were streaming, and then didn't at all afterwards. But when I did it with the Azeroth review, then it worked. It was all fine. It seemed okay. I was a little concerned that it got significantly fewer views than it normally gets, though. But I really don't think that can be anything to do. Just going to check it again. Where the hell is it? I really don't think, yeah, that can be anything to do with the fact that I live streamed it. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's just an aberration. Maybe that's just the thumbnail. Because that's another thing I've been trying recently. I've been trying to look at thumbnails again. I'm not very artistic. And there's certain designs that I see in, you know, some videos that are absolutely god-awful, but one good thing about them is always the thumbnail stands out. I'm not really very good at doing that. And some of the devices that people use them, I don't even have the skills to do that anyway, even if I had the artistic eye, which I don't. So, but I have been making more of an effort with it. And I was just looking at my, you know, the videos and looking, okay, there's still some aspects of them I can still see that need improvement. But I'm, again, just trying different things out, see what sticks, and eventually hopefully that will improve too. But yes, onto the live streaming. So the way it works now is, if it's a video that I'm intending to put up on YouTube in relatively unedited state anyway, and preferably in actually unedited state, then it might as well be live streamed, is the way I'm looking at it. So, and also you get more viewers. Now, here's where the double-edged sword is. What happened with the Azeroth review is, basically, there were 3 times as many viewers as I would normally get on the Azeroth review on Twitch. So on YouTube, I was getting 3 times. And that was, again, the major driving force for doing that. Because, you know, I'm mostly on YouTube. So it stands to reason that more people are going to... And the notifications work better as well. See, Twitch, you just go live or you don't. To tell people you're going to go live, you have to tweet them, Facebook, that sort of thing as well. And if people don't follow you on Facebook or Twitter, please do that, by the way, because I do post things on there. And I do try to respond to people that ask me things on there as well. Of course, if 100 people a day suddenly start doing that, I won't be able to do that. But, you know, so far I think I've been able to do that. But yeah, so that's the only way to really notify people. Whereas on YouTube, you get if you follow someone's channel, then you get notifications, because I can schedule the next stream. Now, I haven't done that yet for the Azeroth review, but I can do that, and I can do it at least a day in advance, and it'll all be fine. Everyone knows when it is. And even if not, if they're just browsing YouTube, they can get a notification. Oh, someone's, you know, this person you follow is live streaming now. So it made, you know, it was no surprise to me that suddenly there were 3 times as many. And But it was a double-edged sword, because what it also meant is that was 3 times as many people commenting, which is great. Except, of course, it meant that I missed a lot of the comments. Now, this is a concern to me, because it means that obviously if there are some really good comments I don't want, and people did say afterwards, there were some really good comments that you missed there. There's not a lot I can really do about that, as far as I can tell. There isn't a lot. I mean, I still need to properly read into what tools YouTube have, but I don't think there's anything that, for example, gives subscribers more emphasis on that. I mean, there are certain tools I know that are in there, like, for example, you can restrict how often someone's able to type. But that's really just there to stop people spamming. There isn't really anything else. The only way to emphasize a comment is for super chats, but I'm not really keen on that, because apart from anything else, you know, people could just put in as a super chat the most inane comment anyway. It's not a guarantee of quality comments. So I don't really know what to do about that, but I will investigate. And if anyone else has got more experience with it, then you know, put that in the comments below, and I shall have a think about that. Now, also speaking of that, and again, this has cropped up before. Again, someone's been asking a couple of things about the Azeroth review. One is, can I put timestamps in? No, I'm afraid I can't. You know, we're talking about a video that's over 2 hours, and it's not scripted. You know, if I do a guide, like the Retribution Paladin guide that I'm scripting at the moment, it's almost done. It's almost ready to start recording. Now, for BFA, of course. Now, for that, it's relatively straightforward to do timestamps, because I've planned what I'm doing. I already know the sections. So all I have to do when I've cobbled it all together is work out at which times each section begins and put them in there. That doesn't take that much longer. It takes a bit longer, but it doesn't take that much longer compared to the time it takes to produce a video. Whereas if I have an unscripted discussion, there's 2 problems with trying to do timestamps. One, it wasn't scripted, which means the only way to do timestamps is to, you know, play back the entire thing again, noting things down. It'll mean occasionally having to pause as well to get the correct second that it is. So it'll take longer than the video to play it all back and note those things down. Secondly, some subjects crop up multiple times. And the intercut, like, for example, someone might put a comment in, I'll start a discussion, then all of a sudden I'll need to ask someone else, oh, what did you mean by that, or something like that. Now, I know there's a delay in there, so I'm not just going to sit there dumbstruck. So what I'll do is I'll pick up another thread while I'm waiting for them to do that, and we go with that. Everything meshes together. It's all pretty chaotic. I understand that people are not necessarily able to listen to it all in one go. But the only solution, I'm afraid, is to listen to whatever you're going to listen to at any one time and then pick it up later. I mean, when you watch a video anyway and you get part way through it, and then you just bookmark it, you watch the same video again later, it starts at the same place as you stopped it anyway. So, you know. But if there's a particular topic that you were interested in, you weren't interested in the rest, it's not really the ideal thing for you anyway. I mean, those sort of things, if you're particularly interested in, you're far better off, rather than asking for timestamps, which ain't going to happen, is ask me to discuss it in more detail and do a separate video on it. Maybe I'll do a 5-minute video on it if enough people are interested. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is doing it as a podcast. And again, it's one of those things, it's if I'm honest, it's fairly low priority, but it is on my list of potentially things to look into over summer, because it's easy enough to turn it into an audio file. The difference is, the issue is, where do I host it? So, you know, and how do I host it and all the rest of it? I don't know anything about that. So it is something for me to look into. It's not going to be super high priority, I have to say. But, you know, there is a possibility I could also get it out there as a podcast. That is, you know, that's doable. So, yeah, so that's in terms of live stream. So discussions. So the Azeroth review and the live rec Q&As, when I do those, there's no reason why that can't be done on YouTube. So that could be done on YouTube quite easily. There was a time when I also wanted to do a daily, as people would, you know, but, you know, I think to be able to do those, you'd need far more people following the channel. So I've sort of semi-abandoned that one anyway. because when I talk about dailies, I don't want mini Azeroth reviews all the way through. Apart from anything else, the Azeroth review when I first started it, when it was called the Tuesday Talk actually, was only intended to be about half an hour. And it went on for hours, and now I schedule 2 hours for it. And even then, sometimes I've let it go on for much longer, but I generally try to be strict and keep it to 2 hours. But yeah, so the idea of a daily was bring a particular thing to discuss, a specific thing to discuss. The issue is, of course, then people will throw all sorts of random other stuff into the mix as well. But also, you just need far more people, because otherwise it will just not last very long. And I have to think about what it's like for someone listening back to it when it's not live. It has to be an experience that's good for people tuning in live and good for people who are watching it when it's not live. So, you know, the jury's still out on that one, but I just don't think there's enough people would watch it to do that. I may be wrong, and maybe I could try it out this summer, but I don't know. Next one. So, yeah, so that's that. So, but Twitch, it's not that I'm abandoning Twitch as such. Twitch is still going to be suitable for gameplay streaming now, for a number of reasons. First of all, I don't want my gameplays... Like, the thing is, when I stream on Twitch, if someone wants to watch the video later on, they can do. It's there for people to watch for a certain amount of time, whatever time that is. I've not put any restrictions on it. So that's not really feasible on YouTube. You know, with YouTube, if someone wants to watch a gameplay stream that I've made, either I allow it or I don't. I'm not going to allow it. I'm not having the channel, you know, descend into chaos with 3 or 4 hour gameplay streams everywhere. That's going to be horrendous. So no one's going to watch those. Who wants to watch that? Anyway, it's like 2 or 3 people maybe. And that's where Twitch is better for it. Secondly, you can't play... There's a lot of things you can't do. You can't do copyrighted music. You know, I tend to be a bit swearier when I'm raiding and stuff like that, especially if things aren't going terribly well. So although you can get away with a little bit on YouTube, it doesn't, you know, you can't go mad, otherwise then they start. And I don't want anything getting strikes against my channel. Every now and then again, I also forget to filter out other people in comms in the guild and stuff like that. And I can't be responsible for their behaviour. But if it's on YouTube, well, I am responsible. Well, I am on Twitch as well, but Twitch don't really care as much. So there's all sorts of reasons why it's just better to do gameplay streaming on Twitch. Now, in terms of where that's likely to go long term, so at the moment, that means basically at the moment 4 streams a week. Wednesday is Guild Raid night. In theory, although the time has now changed because I've changed Guild, but I have updated it on Twitch. In theory, Thursday the same thing, but this week, I think it was the first time they'd ever done it, we cleared it in one night. Now, that may not be the case going forward. It may or may not, because what we were also doing apparently was we were getting people to basically not contribute to the fight. We were practicing for boosting people, 2 people through Mythic. So we're basically, I think, 18 manning them. So, and of course, if we actually took people, you know, and boosting them, maybe there'd be times when it would take more than a night. So again, that Thursday one is a bit like, sometimes it'll be a guild raid, maybe. But if not, I'll just do what I did on Thursday and do something else. I think I couldn't do beta because the realms were down. So in the end, I just did some stuff on live. Fortunately, as I've gone Horde now, I've got stuff to do because Blizzard, and again, a pure act of spite, have decided that I don't have the Insurrection achievement from Suramar, which I do, of course, but because I did it while I was Alliance, they've suddenly decided, no, you should do it separately as Horde in order to be able to get access to the Nightborn character. So that was a bit spiteful, but that's what so that's the situation. I can do that for a week or 2. And then, of course, I could always be leveling another character because I might do a Nightborn Mage when I've got that far. At the same time, I'd like to just level boost it anyway, but helps with it. So, and then Friday evenings is BFA Beta, Saturday afternoon is BFA Beta. Now, at some point, Battle for Azeroth's actually going to come out. At which point, those stream, it won't be BFA Beta because it won't be BFA Beta, it'll be BFA Live. Now, I am likely to change the schedule at that point. Whether that means doing the same amount of gameplay streams or less, I don't know. I will give people advance warning because I know some people, of course, are subscribing on Twitch, and I don't want to put people in a situation where all of a sudden, without any warning, you're subscribing to me and then I'm going, oh, by the way, I'm only going to stream once a week now. In reality, it'll be 3 times a week because I'll stream when I'm raiding. But that's my intention is. And the reason for this is because when I'm streaming, obviously I've got a schedule set up. I'm not just going to randomly stream and then randomly not, because that's just silly. That doesn't suit anyone. It doesn't suit me because there'll be hardly anyone. There's not many watch anyway, even when I do schedule it. So if I just don't even schedule it, I just randomly stream for a couple of hours every now and then there'll be hardly anyone in there, if anyone. And it doesn't suit people who might want to watch me stream because they don't know when I'm going to be doing it. So that's, you know, just silly for both sides. But at the same time, when I do schedule these things, that's several hours, which if I was going to be playing anyway, it's no big deal. But if I wasn't, then it means that whatever I would have done instead doesn't get done. That can include videos, it could include other things as well. So, you know, in the hurly-burly of a new expansion, I'm very likely to just change that gameplay streaming down to raid nights. And in fact, in the first couple of weeks, it may not be much at all. It might just be a couple of nights. We'll just before the raids even start, just to see. Just the times when I know I'm going to be playing BFA. But I will, you know, give advance warning of that as that date approaches as well. So it might be that I tone down the Twitch streaming, the gameplay streaming quite a bit into BFA as well. Just warning on that one. And I think that's about it at the moment. Obviously, there's been other things I've been doing since the last subscriber report. I've been working on intros and stuff like that. You know, that's still a work in progress. So let me know what you think about those ones too. Yes, I think that's where we are. So hopefully what I'll be doing is this summer I'll be coming up with a plan of action that I'm going to be, you know, doing for the channel, because when I get time off work, because I'm a teacher, so term time's always very hectic. But outside of term time, that's the time when I've got to actually do things, particularly to do with infrastructure. Last year I made a right balls of it because I had a lovely plan for this is what I'm going to do and this is when I'm going to do it all the way through summer. And then when it got to summer, I suddenly thought, no, I'm going to change that. But instead of changing it and writing it down and following a different plan, I just made it up, and it was completely inefficient. So I'm going to stick to my plan this time, and if I change it, I'll change it in writing, so I've still got a plan of things to get done, so I can actually use the summer usefully. So hopefully, yeah, what I would do at that point is do another one of these. I don't always do them each month, but you know, that'll probably be a good time to catch up with, because by that time, hopefully another 5 weeks have gone. Well, definitely another 5 weeks will have gone, and the Lord of the Rings and the Warhammer stuff will have gone on, and maybe the titles and thumbnails will have come on as well. So anyway, I think we're done there. Yes. So in terms of the Warcraft content, by the way, just last thing I suppose I should say is we're now moving into the point where I'm going to be doing more guide-based stuff and much less speculation-based stuff. Because again, you know, it's like one or the other, and the guides are of more use. So you may start to see sort of a bit more of that side of things and a bit less of the discussion side of things. But if there are topics that people want me to discuss, obviously just suggest them somewhere, and you never know, particularly if a few people want me to do that. So thanks for watching. If you've made it this far, well done. And keep supporting the channel. Keep coming up with comments for things to improve. If I don't agree, sometimes I don't agree and I'll just not agree with it. Occasionally people have said things and I've not agreed with it, and then later on I have agreed with it. So, you know, just keep it coming in anyway. It gives food for thought, even if I don't change anything about it anyway. But sometimes I do. I have changed things according to people's suggestions before. Sometimes it's worked out well, sometimes it's not. But we'll keep trying things anyway. So thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.